Bada boom, realest one in the goddamn room. This is Seasonal Talk. I'm the Breakmaster, and we are gonna see which anime is the anime of the week. And we have many other topics that are gonna be happening here. So stay tuned for the wild ride that is Seasonal Talk, baby. First off, welcome in, Desto. Appreciate you dropping by. You know what major setup was? Of what exactly? You know, I'm kind of curious of like what your thought processes is right now. Because as you see, you start off with the GOAT, Ace, my brother. How you doing? I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. Wearing my Attack on Titan gear. I am not prepared to talk about all this. So I usually have like my anime list up to talk about like the episodes and everything, so I remember all the names. So I look at the list over there. My anime list got freaking hacked. So I'm not able to actually have that list stuff. So bear with me when it comes to trying to remember everybody's names. Okay? Just throwing it out there right now. All right? So we're doing it live though. We're doing it live. Vinland Saga, the GOAT status. Here it is yet again. And honestly, this show just won't stop being great now. It just won't stop being great. It's, like I said, again, like I said last week, like I said the week before, it's a shame for people that have dropped this anime. They lost themselves. Okay? Just trying to make nicknames, maybe. That's what I'm going to have to do here. But they lost themselves when it comes to Vinland Saga. This show right here has just been nothing but GOAT status at this point, and this episode is no different. Another GOAT status of an episode. Really goddamn good. I just can't believe what happened here. Look, man, we thought he was one of the good ones. You know, he was a slave owner, but he's like, oh, he's not that bad. You know, he actually cares about his slaves and this and that and the other thing. But everything got turned upside down, all right? Everything got turned upside down. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that he knew, he saw. When he got back over to his freaking farm, yeah, he heard about Arnhere's betrayal, basically, when she was trying to run away. He sat there like, ain't no way she trying to leave me, trying to run away from me. How can you do this to me? What's going on here? Why is everything falling apart? And he started putting, look, he let that dog in him. He had that dog in him. The kid freaking came out. He said, arf, arf, it's time, baby. It's freaking time. You know, I don't even care no more. He's ready to go to war because the war is about to happen. Canoe is on his way in less than 2 to 3 days. He's going to be there. And it's about to get wild. All right, it's about to get wild because god dang it, what happens here? He had a change of heart. He has transformed into a monster. He said, no longer am I going to worry about this. Now, Thorfinn and Einar, they can leave. All right, that's the thing here because old man, his name just came to me and then he just went away. But the old man is looking for Thorfinn right now. Yeah, that's your Thorfinn. He haven't actually really met yet until like later in the episode. But even then, that got overshadowed by everything that happened in this episode. They didn't even have that moment that we were looking for because it's been a long time, right? But nah. So they can leave basically. Ultimately, what the slave owner was saying, hey, you can have them, but Arner's mine. She's still mine. You thought I was just gonna sell her? Nah, she's gonna be mine for the rest of her life. Basically, that's what's going on here. He beat the buckles off of her. It's like, god dang, she's like in a coma at this point. I was like, bro, she has their child. She's bearing your child right now. And you're just gonna whoop her? Like, god dang. I mean, I knew there was going to be a change of heart at some point in time. I didn't know he's going to be a beast like this, though. Like, he looked so upset. Like, that shot when he had the sword right there, and you see the reflection, and you just see how he's just like a monster that he is all of a sudden. I was like, bro, freaking Torkill is going to be like, yes, that's the dad I remember. That is the GOAT status. That is the legend that I remember. There we go. So, yeah, it's not looking good right now. It's not looking good right now. And Thorfinn and Einar, there's not really much they gonna be able to do in this particular situation. At the end of the day, they're still on punishment. Also, thank God that Snake is alive. I thought he died. Apparently, he was okay. He got choked out. I guess there's really nothing wrong with him. So that's another at least good hand that they have for this war that's upcoming. Because they need as many able-bodied soldiers as they need, and good ones at that, to be able to fight off Canute if they're gonna be able to even do that in the first place. That's if Thorfinn even like deals with this whole situation. It's really, the longer they wait, the more of a problem this is gonna be. So I don't know. This whole thing is just looking so freaking like dire. I'm concerned. But this is a freaking banger of an episode. This was a banger of an episode right here. I'll give this I'll give it 8.5 only because I think next week's gonna be even better than this. So let me be a little frugal with my rating here. You know, why is this? You stay up here. You stay. Stop moving. All right. But 8.5. This is some good stuff. Really good stuff. Leif and Thorfinn's reuniting off screen was a weird choice, but I get it. That's what a lot of this episode might have. Yeah, exactly. Undermined it. That's the whole point, right? There's too much other stuff going on. They cared about Arnir, and Arnir's like, you know, in a coma and crap like this at this point. So it makes sense to not really have, or at least hold off on that reunion, at least for next episode, potentially anyways. That's if they even have time to really like say anything to each other, given everything that's going on right now. So it's oof. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like the dude that was watching over Arnir, was like about to go to town. Like he was already explaining, like, you do know that, you know, in normal circumstances, things would have been way different. You know, he was taking his pants off, stuff like that. It was bad. It was bad. Boop. How you doing, Anna? Welcome in. Well, again, 8.5 out of 10. This was another just banger episode of Vinland Saga. Y'all need to watch this show. It's so good. Anna, you need to watch this show. It's so good. It's so good, right? God. But let's go ahead and move on to the next goddamn anime. If this keeper works. Okay, there we go. We got. Yeah, I'm surprised Snake is actually okay. But we got Mashle up on the scene here. I will have to actually admit, this is probably their weakest episode thus far. That's not to say that the show it's not bad or anything like that. It's not like this is a terrible episode or anything like that. I just feel like it's the weaker one out of all of them thus far. So like when it comes to like everything that's been going on here, it's not bad though. It is ultimately still not bad. It's more of a setup episode to, you know, lead into other things that's about to happen here. We have a new character, which it's not Lance. What was his name? A lot of these characters actually have very English-based names because it's a magician school and everything like that. They kind of also broke down the 3 houses, technically speaking, that they have here. So depending on the house you are, that's the type of like personality and traits that you would have. It's so much like Harry Potter. Like it's Harry Potter but anime. This is what Mashle pretty much is. Just if you want to know, this is Harry Potter but the anime. Except you got this dude being bootleg as heck right here. But you have a new character that comes into the scene. He's very full of himself. He thinks he's the GOAT and everything like that, and thinking that he can barely get a woman and this and that and the other. Like Mash ain't doing nothing, but he already has, you know, females gawking over him. You know what I'm saying? He has a group of friends already with him and everything. Lance is actually part of the crew at this point now, right? Yeah. So we run into this episode, have this like chick here doing the spell to try to make guys fall in love with her and everything like that. The new guy does. In fact, save her and everything, and then obviously, you know, he's falling in love. That magic is actually working on him, but it does not work on Mash. Mash don't care about that. Mash don't care about that. He said, "Get the crap in my face. Get out of my face." All right. But with everything said and done, there is one like goon sucker apparently in this like test. They're like in the forest of death right now, technically speaking. If you know what Naruto is, right? They're kind of like on the forest of death. That's kind of what they're doing a little bit of a test. They're supposed to kill these scorpions that have these like diamonds in their head. If it's like what is it? Like a rectangular diamond that's costing like more points. You can get like the silver plates and everything. So the whole point is you got to kill those things, right? It might be a whole problem. So maybe that's why you want to team up with other people to be able to actually do said actions. But we have this goon here that is pretty powerful apparently. He's so powerful that even though he has messed up teachers and other students, because he's so good with magic, the academy decides to still keep him there. But he's a delinquent. The guy failed a grade, basically. So that's why, but he's still here regardless. Needless to say, they run into him. Mash runs into him. The new guy that's here runs into him. The new guy getting his butt manhandled here. Mash eating his little cream puff. That thing got smacked out of his hands by the freaking the goon sucker that's here. So now we're gonna have a big old fight with Mr. Goon and Mash. All right, that's what's going on. Ultimately, it's about to happen here. Just to say, this is more of a setup episode. Not bad. What we got going on here, but I have to just be honest, and I want to be more strict with some of my reviews and how I rate things. This episode is a 7.5 out of 10. That's what I'm gonna give it. Yes, the Japanese Hogwarts. This is pretty much what this is. Like, and I think you might actually like this show. It's fun. It is a fun show. That is so Hogwarts, but only 3 houses. Yes, yeah, exactly. Kind of expected more of him. I mean, look, same man, but it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, let's add to the long list I have. Look, I'm just saying, these shows are good. You need to start watching them, especially when it comes to goddamn Vinland Saga, all right? That show, great. This is actually shaping up to be something really good, too, so I do enjoy Mashle. This was still a fun episode nonetheless, but 7.5 out of 10. That's how I feel about it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next goddamn show. You might want to mute me, Anna, because now we're talking about Demon Slayer. Now, I can always bring this up. I'm going to bring it up one more time, because it just keeps happening. We don't get them goddamn fishes in the goddamn show. They need to go. I'm so tired of looking at them. They look bad. This is like the CG is bad. All right. I'm tired of seeing these stupid fishes in this goddamn anime. I'm tired. Okay. I'm so tired. Like, why is he here? Like, why is Unfathomable letting this happen? Fortunate, welcome in. I'm talking about Demon Slayer right now, and it's just this animation is bothering me, specifically with the fishes. The pot demon, all right, that guy's okay. He looks fine for the most part. He's not really that disruptive into the anime like that. But this freaking fish has gotta go. Okay, God, freaking dang. The highlight of this episode, though, I will admit, was kind of lit. Like, pun intended, unfortunately, but it was lit though. All right, Tanjiro has come a long goddamn way. But that also breeds that whole issue that I have with the show. It's like, it's so fast that we're actually skipping, I guess, training arcs in some way. Some people are actually tired of seeing the training arcs, but it just feels like he hasn't really deserved that power up that he has right now, because he's really good. He's so good, in fact, that yes, he did technically not get knocked out. Nezuko was like saving him, and then they kind of went back and forth because they're both getting knocked out, but they're like carrying each other. But it's needless to say, this man is on another level now. He's on another level now, because he ended up doing this this technique where he out here. I don't know if the demon's dead. I'll say this right now. If the demon's actually dead, I'm surprised, because then he been upper rank mostly by himself, because not only did he bring himself back to the battlefield, but then he ended up doing this technique to be able to behead, well, I think 4 of them by himself. I was like, hey, brother, huh? Excuse me? You're just that good now. Oh, all right. Okay, Tanjiro. Okay, Tanjiro. Like, what the heck's going on here? This, like I said, this is what I'm saying. Like, and then Genya, yes, fortunate. I was about to bring him up, because at the end of this episode, Genya looking kind of shaky over there. Is he like Nezuko or something? Because we knew something was up with him, obviously, but we see his eyes. He looks partially demon. So like, is he similar to Nezuko in that way, or is there something else actually at play going on here? Because I am not sure what's going on with him, but I am intrigued. I am very intrigued. Yeah, look, how you doing, Andy? Freaking Genya is something, and I want to see what's going on with him. Now, I will say this: if the demon got defeated, if this demon did get defeated, this demon sucks. Okay, look, this upper rank, this is kind of like the problem, right? Like, the power scaling so all over the place right now. It's hard to like, because again, it's hard for me to like understand or believe Tanjiro's like this good now, right? Because it just happens so fast, and then it's like, okay, he is getting better, but then like, aren't these upper rank son of a guns supposed to be stronger than the one they just fought? Like, Izui just fought this other upper rank, and they barely won. I mean, like Izui lost an arm fighting this sucker. He out of commission at this point for the rest of his life. He can't be fighting like that anymore. So it's like, going from that to this guy, which I can tell right now, this sucker's not doing anything. He sits there and allow these suckers to just fight him. Like, that's why the angry emotion guy is like, how dare you? Why aren't you guys taking him out? Kill him already. Like, I vibe with that guy, because he makes a lot of sense. Why are we keeping these suckers around? Like, kill them. It's like, what is going on? So it makes them look stupid. It makes him look weak in comparisons to the other upper ranks. He's supposed to be higher than him, but it doesn't seem that way. He seems weak as heck in comparison. So it's interesting. So that's the thing. When I'm like, the problem I have with some of the show here is the thing here. Yeah, I already did Vinland Saga. I gave that thing an 8.5 out of 10. That thing was stressful. Okay, fortunate. it was stressful. Animation popped off again. I mean, it did though. For the stupid freaking fishes, it did pop off right there with Tanjiro's ability. That thing looked nice. That looked really, really nice. I will give it that. Like, look, they still got the sauce. Don't get me wrong. They still got the sauce. Unfathomable knows what they're doing, but come on now. Ginny is so handsome. Wait, we got some. We loving on freaking Ginny right now. Is this a thing? Is this like a fanboy fangirl section right now? Ginny is the most interesting part of this arc. Honestly, I agree. Like I say, he has me questioning what's going on because I don't think he is similar to Nezuko in that way. I think there's something else happening. There's a reason why he's like doing this like enchantment type of thing. Maybe he can like channel some demon energy potentially to allow himself to go partial demon. I don't think he's in the same way as like Nezuko though. You know, I feel like that would have been brought up maybe even sooner at this point if that's the case though. Yeah, exactly. They're just standing around. That's the problem. This is the problem I have with this fight so far. They're not doing anything. It's like, yeah, they're doing little here like attacks here and there, but they keep joking. Oh, I'm gonna kill you when I can. Like that one guy that was holding on to Nezuko. He was just sitting there just playing with her, like holding hands. Like, sucker, take her out if you don't like the sucker. Like, do it. It's like, what are y'all doing? And the other guy is like, oh, I was trying to go for the vital, just like end his life as fast as possible. Like, I guess I missed. So, like, no, just fight. Look, the guy was out of commission. Cut the heads off. Like, just do it. So that's why I'm like stressed out right now when it comes to this fight right now. Like, this is definitely not on the same comparisons between the last two fights we've seen with upper ranks. This has been the weaker one out of all of them thus far. Just how it's been structured is my thing. It's the structure of it. So it's the other upper ranks, demon terrorizing. Exactly, right? Exactly. That's what we're doing here. So I don't know. Maybe this might be a turnaround with the fight. We'll see. I don't think they're dead. That'd be so odd if they're already dead already. Again, that's insane to me. Then all it took was Nezuko, Tanjiro, and Genya to take out this upper rank by themselves. Like, that's crazy. The freaking Genya just got a gun. He got the Glock, right? Like, he just like. Let me stop. Again, just for that episode, when it comes to the animation, it was nice. This was a better episode nonetheless than what I was enjoying thus far. So that's why I'll give it like 8 out of 10. It was a good episode. Everything I've been complaining a lot, yes. But this is still a good episode. I did like it. So I'll give it 8 out of 10. It's just that there's still problems that I have ultimately with this arc that's happening right now. You know, I got to be fair here, all right? I got to be fair here. I just want to tell you how I feel about this. But all right. 8 out of 10. That's what I'm going to give it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next show, please. And that is Oshi Nuko. Anyways, I started blasting. Exactly, Andy. 100%. I'm also pretty uninvested in the two upper ranks. Yeah, just ready for 2 and 3. Same. I'm not going to lie. I kind of feel the same way a little bit. They're very underwhelming right now. That's the main problem I'm having with them. They're very underwhelming. So I digress, though. Let's talk about some Oshi no Ko. This was yet another setup episode. This week in general has a lot of setup episodes, so it's actually harder to know which one is actually going to win Anime of the Week. You know what? Can y'all make a guess on which anime wins this week when it comes to Anime of the Week? And what is your pick for Anime of the Week, actually? I want to ask y'all this as we continue on to this reviews here. But with Oshi no Ko, with this setup that we got going on here, we basically have Aqua kind of playing his part in this dating show that he's supposed to be a part of. So this one more or less sets up like other characters that are around him that his cast members are. So there's one girl that's that kind of shines a little bit out of the other pack that he might have a bit of a, you know, there could be a thing going on here. Kana and Ruby do not like the fact that he's on a dating show, so it's really bothering him. And it's actually really bothering Kana because Kana started actually liking the guy, right? So she's like, "We about to go kiss him." It's like, I'm like, "Why are we doing this?" You know, they're getting upset. So that's the first half of this episode. The other half is with Kana and Ruby trying to actually become an actual duo for an idol group. And so what they end up doing in this episode, I mean, this guy's an internet sensation, apparently. He's like, it was like a birdie. I can't remember his name, but he's like a big, flexible, buff dude with a bird hat on. And he has like a really soft voice for some reason. Like, I don't know why why is that trope still here? Why, like, that reminds me of the dude from freaking Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. That one buff duelist, like he's like, I'm gonna kick your butt. Where's my mommy? Remember that guy? Like, that's what that guy reminds me of. I was like, what's going on here? I'm a little confused right now, okay? But he does this whole workout session where they have to survive for an hour and then they can take off the hats because they're all wearing like these little bird hat things, right? So they actually did the exercise. Kana could do it because she's already had practice and has conditioning. Ruby does not. She was dying. She needed an inhaler. She needed some oxygen. But she did do it. They announced themselves and everything. So hopefully that gave them a platform to start off because they're doing this stuff online right now as opposed to how things were back in the day. Things are different now. Online is where it's at. So that's what they're trying to do and make this group a thing. And what's kind of funny about what's going on here, they need a name for the group. When this episode ends, the name of the group is B Komachi. It's the same group name from before for I. So that was actually a nice little touch. I do wonder if they could actually utilize this and it'd be okay to use. I mean, it is still under Strawberry Production, so it should be fine. But it's interesting that they would actually choose that name. So I look forward to seeing how these two evolve when it comes to becoming an idol. I want to see how Aqua, when it comes to his acting, if he can actually really do this for real, because this is like really odd, especially considering that it kind of tells you how dating shows like operate. Basically, there is no script, so they kind of just, it's very free form. It's kind of like Big Brother in a way. There's just things happening, and they capture it as it happens. So it's going to be interesting to see. I wonder how messy it's going to get because Aqua can be very controlling. So I'm looking forward to this. I'll give this a solid 8 out of 10, though. This is a solid episode. Again, it's a setup to just leading up to more craziness about to go on here. So that's why I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. It was good, though. Joe, welcome in. I'm getting the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in a few hours. Oh, you lucky son of a gun. Look, I plan on getting that. I plan on getting it. I should have probably pre-ordered it, to be honest with you. I probably should have done that. But hey, have fun with it, though. You said Hell's Paradise? Interesting. Saying I'm both ready and not ready for those. Oh no, yeah, this stuff so happy rolling. There's a lot of funny moments in there. It's a pretty universe. Yeah, it's pretty funny though. I enjoyed this. This is a very solid episode for Ocean no Code, and this show's good. If you haven't watched it, you should definitely start watching the show. It's like 6 episodes in right now, but it's a very enjoyable watch. Opening endings be slapping all the goddamn time. The soundtrack just in general, like the show is just very good. Like I'm surprised I dropped this manga. I should have been reading this a long time ago. I don't know what I'm doing. This is some good stuff, though. This is some good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next show. And you can now unmute me because now we're talking about Heavenly Delusions. Man, okay. I'm liking the show. Been you older than Breath of the Wild? I believe I have. But right now, we're talking about anime right now. We're talking about Heavenly Delusions, man. We're talking about Heavenly Delusions. We will get into more of a discussionary topics and discussions and stuff like that later on in this like seasonal talk. So stay tuned though. With this show, I'm still liking this. It's like there's still a heavy mystery going on here. Yeah. It's it's funny because they've been fighting all these like demon things, these monstrosities, right? But they come across an actual just natural predator. It's a goddamn bear. It's a goddamn bear. I was like, okay. They knocked it out using their beam attack, right? And then Maru was like, all right, I'm gonna do my attack. He does this like cringe name. I can't remember what the name was for it. It was a very cringe name. But Fatal Dive, that's what it's called. He said, Fatal Dive. And it was disgusting. But it actually didn't work because that was a bear. That his ability don't work on like I guess living things like that. So the bear's like, oh, like the bear looked even confused. He's like, why are you touching my chest? And so for some reason the bear was like stalking them the whole episode. It's like go away. So they had to find a way to just kill this sucker. They had one shot left in that gun, and they have this little thing here, but they had a moment beforehand, right? Hiku and Maru, they had this moment, and it's just like you can tell they're really, especially Hiku, like you can tell there's feelings happening here. They're about to get together. They held hands this episode. Like something about to go down. All right, but actually I'm skipping something. So something that's funny that actually happened. In order to like get the bear away, they've come up with this plan, right? And ultimately, Kiku says, "Hey, if you can distract the bear and get us out of here and kill it, right? I can let you can touch my boob, all right?" Without even a second thought, he goes down there and just starts doing it. It's like, bro. Maru's like, hey, I see it's my opportunity. It's my time. My time. So that's not the only weird thing that happens in this episode. once they got done with the whole bear situation, they go, they find this chick. This chick apparently has like an end and everything like that, right? So they leave their bags there and all that. They come back. They get kind of comfortable. Obviously, he wants to touch the boob, right? He wants to touch the boob. So they're like screaming and making a loud noise. She goes to the man and say, "Hey, you can't be having sex in here, all right? Go in each other's room." And then she said, "Psych, actually, I want to have sex. Let's go, Mara." I was like, she started stripping, just bucket naked. And then this like whole scenario happens because he's like screaming, complaining, like, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" And he ended up grabbing her boob, right? But then his his touch actually worked. The fatal dive worked on her for some reason. He's like, "Oh, snaps." So he tried to get out of that, held her down, screaming for Kiku to come in. Kiku comes in, sees in this weird compromised position, like, "Hello, what are you doing? Are you guys going to Pound Town?" Like, actually, this episode was freaking stupid. Yes. I call it Heavenly Delusions, but it's Tengoku. That's the show I'm talking about right now. Yeah, Maru had his dingy moment. Look, everybody has a dingy moment. It happens, okay? It happens. But needless to say, nobody got no action, okay? Like, Maru did get to grab some boobies, all right? But that's about it. That's all that happened here. Only other part of this episode that did happen, it goes into Tokyo when it comes to the, the safe haven, the area, right? They found out that it's her boo. I'm surprised. Like, this guy actually, was like, that shoe looks very, very familiar. I think like I've seen it before. I think that's the footprint. And so he saw it. It is a match, a 97% match, mind you. And so I think they're gonna try to confront that, but it's kind of odd. Okay, so I thought that Tokyo had like an ability, right, to be invisible, but that's actually not the case. I don't see that's happening here. I think there's like this other thing, this other entity, because we've seen it before actually. This other entity that's here is actually playing some mind games right now. I think like Tokyo might be like a chosen person or something. So they're putting it to where she can't be seen on cameras potentially. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell what's exactly going on. Because I had that thought of like, oh, she has an ability to just be invisible because they're not catching her on cameras at all, right? Because she was able to just do anything. And at the end of this episode, she went to Pound Town. Like, she has somebody, and they're not just holding hands, they're not just kissing. No, she got bucket naked. They were going to town. They going in, all right? And that's the episode. So I don't know. There's so much going on with this show, and I'm trying to figure out how all of it all pieces together. But I'm invested. I do like this show. The show kind of good. I give this episode a solid 8 out of 10. This is good. I like this episode. There's a lot happening here. This goes and give me late 2000. Yes, same. I was actually about to bring that up because I think that's like what is one of the charms about this show. It reminds me of those shows that I was watching, like Enenabashi Magical Shopping Arcade, kind of like that, or just like older shows in general that you don't get this type of vibe from anime nowadays. And I like this though. I like this a lot. So episodes being uploaded to my anime site, but in bottle watching is it good? I say it is. Yeah, I like it. I like it thus far. It can be a bit confusing, Joe, but I do like it overall. This is not a bad show. This is not a bad show. All the shows that I'm currently watching at this point in time are pretty good shows that are worth watching, I feel. Until something drops. We'll see what happens. But 8 out of 10, this is what I give for Heavenly Delusions. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, because I talk way too much about this show. Let's go. Hell's Paradise, baby. We have 2 more. Hell's Paradise and Yamada. But Hell's Paradise, big step up. My favorite episode thus far. For this show. This was good. So that show, hell, Heavenly Delusions is a sleeper anime. People don't know about it like that, but you should watch it. Yeah, this show right here though. This was so much. Like I said, I needed her to have her moment. All right, I needed her to have her moment, and she finally had her moment. And what was so cool about this? Now I see what we're doing here, and I like this. They're actually again utilizing like your quote unquote weaknesses, your emotions and stuff supposed to be weaknesses and everything. No, they're making it as strengths. You're supposed to like utilize that and make it stronger, make you stronger as a person. I like the message, honestly, overall, that this show's giving. This is good. I'm impressed with it. First of all, look, round of applause. I want to say this right now. Yeah, Sagiri hype. Like you're right. Avatar, you were right. Okay, look, I had to let it cook. And it finally cooked. That man died, right? One of the Asamons, the guy that was like, get back in the kitchen. That guy died, but he did give his sword to Sagiri, and Sagiri then got that like determination and was allowing herself to feel things, to feel everything basically. And so they had to fight this freaking this monster of a guy. He had such a weird backstory. This dude was just eating and won't stop eating. He kind of reminds me. It's a bit of a spoiler. I'll say spoiler real quick on this. It deals with One Piece for a specific character, but this character reminds me of Big Mom. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. But it reminds me of Big Mom. I'm not gonna say exactly what, but that character reminds me so much of Big Mom in a way of what his character was all about and how he just kept growing and he became this big old monster, but he's actually a big baby on the inside. He took some damage and he was like, oh my God, it hurts and stuff. So like he was actually feeling it, all right? But he's really tough to take out. He has very, very tough joints and things of that nature. He was struggling, but the way Sagiri was finally able to just get that clean cut and finish that man off, but like gave this man like closure in a way. He's like, you can sleep now. That was actually a very beautiful moment, just in general. And I'm like, this was really good. This was a really good. Like I said, this is their best episode thus far. I really like the action that was actually happening here as well. I love the teamwork with Gabimaru and Sagiri. That was working really, really well. Like, it's good. It's just like I said, it's just such good shit. Okay, such good shit. Like so that's what the man will say. This is some good stuff right here. Yeah, they're an excellent duo. Okay, excellent duo. I'm watching the dub, so I'm only episode 4. Ah, God dang it. I mean, understandable though. The dub's not bad. I need to make a video on the dub. The dub is actually not bad for this show, for Hell's Paradise. I like it thus far, for the most part. There's some hits or miss with some of the characters' voices, but overall it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So needless to say, I want to say this right now. This is like a 9 out of 10. This is their best episode, and I want to give that love to it because it's deserving of it. It's deserving of it. I do want to see what's going to happen within the future when it comes to how Sagiri and Gabimaru are going to be working together, how they're going to make this stuff happen. But they're a formidable team, and Sagiri is the truth. She is actually really good. We even like tell people like, man, when it comes to her ability, the only reason why that she's like ranked the way she is because she's a woman, and it's like the sexism in this goddamn show makes me goddamn mad. Like, I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of it, right? Like come on now, god dang. But if she was ranked properly, she's actually very, very good with the sword. She knows exactly what she's freaking doing. Okay, like come on now. But as we see, when there was also a fire that was happening, we have all these other demons like, you know, doing their thing here, and it's just like I said, it's a lot. Like we're already a little too far in, but overall, I just want to say 9 out of 10. This was good stuff. Is this anime of the week? We'll find out because we still have one more. So let's go ahead and just move on to the next one, and then we get to the goddamn rating system and all that stuff. So like, let's go. Yamada. This one actually, weirdly enough, is probably their weaker episodes thus far. I will say that much because this episode is strictly set up. It's strictly set up. How can I speed through this? Basically, Akane broke her computer. Yamada did come by to try to pretty much check on the computer, right? Runa. I'm trying to remember her names. Remember all the names because Runa's the one that brought Yamada there. Runa and Akane's relationship has gotten a lot better, and she's actually starting to look forward to like more random things because she was very just strict on her, just the way her way of life. Basically, she doesn't want to do things that are different. But when she's around Akane, Runa just can't help herself but to be kind of happy about this, and so she wanted to help them out. And now it seems like she's trying to actually get Yamada and Akane together. So that's why they're doing a lot of these weird like moments and stuff like that. So they had a moment where they're like real close to each other, face to face and everything, because a piece of like Akane's hair got into his eye while he was like looking at the computer and everything because he fell over on top of him. And yeah, he got embarrassed. So he left. He's saying, oh, I got to get some parts to go fix the computer. But no, he got embarrassed. And the thing is, Akane noticed that. So things are moving now. The pieces are moving. And I didn't know Runa's going to be, that person to try to help them out, but that's what's happening here. So that's ultimately the episode. That's what I'm saying. Like, this episode is probably the weaker one. I give this one like 7 out of 10. This was a weaker episode overall when it comes to Yamada here, but it's not bad though. I still like this show, and setup episodes are necessary to bring great pain for later on, okay? Look at Vinland Saga, all right? Look at Vinland Saga. Kind of forgot everything that happened in this episode. God dang. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, this episode was more of one that's like, it's just set up. They're not really, he's got to hold off. You got to hold off a little bit, It's necessary, but unfortunately, this is technically a weaker one at the end of the day when it comes to its episodes here. So that's why I had to give this like a 7 out of 10. But it's not bad. It's not bad. With that said, I think we're done now, yo. Yep, we are. So, you guys made a prediction on which one is going to be Anime of the Week. You got it right. All right? You got it right because it is Hell's Paradise. I had to think about this. I was about to give it to Vinland Saga, but the more I thought about that episode for Hell's Paradise, I said, you know what, actually, I don't know if we're going to get another banger episode like this, but we might. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Vinland Saga might not be sweeping like that, like how Blue Lock did. Blue Lock was just consistently amazing the entire time, right? We'll see. I have a feeling Vinland Saga is going to win next week, though, because Canute should be there. So it's about to get down. It's about to throw down, all right? So this is why I had to give it to this week to Hell's Paradise, because it's deserving. And I needed the moment for Sagiri. I needed her to actually come full circle with her character, with herself, and to really showcase what she can really do. And that's why Hell's Paradise is Anime of the Week, all right? Can't believe we're at halfway point of the season already. I know, right? Everything's moving so freaking fast, I feel, and I'm just like, man, I don't got time. I don't know what's going on here. We gotta slow down a little bit, all right? And look, I'm trying to keep up with all this. But I mean, I'm not upset. I'm not upset about this. So now we're actually at the discussionary portion of it. Let me go and get my topics real quick because my Discord don't want to open up correctly on my freaking computer, so I gotta do it on my phone, all right? So what we got here? One topic that we do have is the anime community, which is kind of something I've talked about a few times actually on stream over on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Thabreakmaster. I talked about this a few times already, but why not talk about this here, actually? Be honest with you. Can I recommend what anime? I'm already watching 7 animes. What anime are you trying to recommend? Depending on what it is, I might have already watched it. I watched a lot of anime. Yeah, you say Yai's anime. So, again, I can say I'm a veteran and an YouTuber at this point, right? I've been around for a very long time with different channels and things of that nature. I just haven't really had my break with some of this yet, obviously. But I've been around. I've been in the community. I've seen how it has evolved. Similar to how I've seen Crunchyroll evolve, right? So I'm saying this from a place that the anime community at one point was legit a community, right? Back in the day when Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece was a thing, I feel like that was like the glue that kept everybody together in a way. And it's weird to say that because, like, people be hating on it back in the day, like they were just upset. But that was a glue that kind of kept the animated community together and had all of the content creators even like kind of clash together. I remember the times and days even, right, where we had like replies. You like video replies. Like, remember back in the day you could do that on YouTube? Nowadays you can't do that. They got rid of that, right? But back in the day, you could do that, like how TikTok has it, technically speaking, right? Make those responses. And so we were always going back and forth. There's a lot of discussion topics going on here. To just tell you, like, I've been in conversations with, like, Keegan Lightning. I've been in conversations and had, like, Friend of Roll up in my stream, and we talked and stuff like that. Double 4 Anime was a very controversial guy, by the way, but he was around and everything. Like, I've seen all of these people from the community, Sora 7 Mage, I'm like, all these YouTubers, right? We're all together in some way. What I see now in 2023, this is not a community anymore. There is no community. There is none. Damn out Death Play. I actually dropped that show, Joe. I got up to 3 episodes, and I was like, I wasn't really feeling it, so I ended up dropping the show. I do plan on going back to it if I hear good things about it, and I might just binge watch it. So that might be best for me when it comes to that show. But I was watching it initially. I was watching it. I got a cheat skill in another world and became unraveled in the real world too. See, well, okay, what kind of name is that? What the heck? Miss 2010 Zero of Anime. Okay, see, you know what I'm talking about though. You know what I'm talking about then, Des, though. I miss those days. I miss those days a lot. as bootleg as some of that stuff was, don't get me wrong, there were some dumb moments that was going on in there. I still loved it because everybody was still kind of together. There was still a whole actual community. People were actually just going back and forth. Everybody kind of knew each other to some degree, right? And that's what I really liked about how the community was at one point. Like nowadays, everybody's in their own bubble. No one really collabs with each other anymore. You know, like we don't try to uplift ourselves within the community. Everybody's kind of working on their own thing nowadays, and it freaking sucks. You know, I would like to be a beacon at some point, maybe like if that could be a thing for me, right? To try to get more people together, to get people to work together, right? I would love to do that. I thought about even at one point doing maybe like a interview show. I have to kind of still like work out the kinks with it because I want it to be a little bit different from other like podcasts and other things of that nature. But I would love to do that at some point and see if I can get guests like Zero Fanboy 124 or you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of content creators that are still out even in my time that I was dealing with that hopefully maybe I can get an interview with at some point. That would be nice. That would be nice. But that's if people want to actually communicate with others, though. That's the thing here. And they just like, I feel like it's very non-existent nowadays, and it's sad to see. And I just really miss those days. It was so fun. So it was so fun. As messy as everything was, it was fun. I was not in the mess, mind you. I'll tell you right now. I was not in the mess. I didn't deal with a lot of that stuff. I did talk about that stuff because I was a part of a group back then that talked about nothing but the anime community. So it was kind of funny how I became that guy and I was like kind of like talking about this stuff, but it was still fun. It was still fun. If that's valid, the community has definitely changed. Yeah, 100% it has. Maybe it has to do with the fact that anime was more niche back then in comparison. Potentially, that's what I'm thinking. But at the same time, I think what ultimately broke everything is when Bleach and Naruto ended. When Bleach and Naruto ended, I think that's when we had that shift. Because unless you're into One Piece, then yeah, maybe might still would have been able to talk to those people and still have that kind of communication. But the thing is, One Piece wasn't the show that was really keeping everybody together. I really actually think Naruto was the one. Naruto was the freaking one. Like that show was the glue for the anime community. Like people always ask themselves, like, man, what will I do because they're usually like back then, you guys were just doing Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. People were just doing the big three back in the day. They didn't have to do other anime. They didn't have to talk about anything else. Now, I talked about other stuff because I have other interests and other animes that I watch. So that's what I did. But, you know, there was people that just had those three animes they talked about. And they had asked themselves, what can I do to diversify myself once those shows end? It's the same people that right now, once One Piece ends, what are they going to do then? I do wonder what Key Lightning's next move is, for instance, because he's primarily a One Piece streamer or One Piece content creator, right? So it's just like, it's stuff like that I'd be wondering. Kamikatsu working for God in a godless world. That sounds familiar. That show sounds familiar, actually. That show's currently running, right? The One Piece YouTube community is still pretty good, though. That's what I'm saying, right? Unless you're into One Piece like that, then those collabs can happen. Because, like, for instance, a good one. I talked to this guy before, right? Tech King 101. That's another person. Like, there's a lot of YouTubers I know, all right? Elite Ace is another one that does just primarily like Bleach. That's why it's great that Bleach came back, because he came back, right? But I bring that up because Tech King 101 was primarily just a Bleach reviewer, right? So what he ended up having to do was actually veer his content to go into One Piece, because One Piece is still part of the big three, and that's still something he was still reading. So he said, why not do that? You know? So that's why he had to make that transition. And a lot of the people that wanted to still, talk about anime and still talk about like something that's still current, One Piece was that show to try to jump into. Now, I'm not the biggest, I can't theorize that well, right? I'm not somebody that's gonna break down a show like that, like how others can, right? But I can still probably bring some type of value of my entertainment when it comes to how I talk about a show in comparison to how others do it. But I just didn't really want to do that with One Piece because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of lore that I'm just not 100% full on. Like I'm not an expert, basically, right? I was an expert in Naruto. I was an expert in Bleach. I can go toe to toe with like a freaking Elite Ace and a Tech King for Bleach specifically, right? I knew my stuff for that show too much, so it was kind of disgusting actually. But yeah, I digress. It's you know what I mean. But it's just like stuff like that. community is so dominated by reaction channels these days. I'm so tired of seeing shit. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to become that channel because I was doing some reactions, but it's just like, I'll be honest with y'all. Like, those are not my favorite videos per se. I like doing manga reactions, like actually reading manga. That I like those, but I like editing them, like, right? But needless to say, I do like that kind of content. But when it's just like it's unedited, unfiltered, and just all just sitting there, and there's not really much reaction even going on, it's like, what's the point watching it? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, I don't like the fact that that's the other like thing that happened. Everybody became a reaction channel, and I'm just like, I'm not about to be that guy. Not today. Not today, all right? Those are the main shows, even though you had other small shows that were also popular. Facts. Yeah, nowadays there's a ton of popular shows. Yeah, that's also true too. But it's like, it's still different in a way. Maybe that's what I'm wondering, because I think anime did expand, like you're saying, Andy, and I think that's the other reason why maybe it's a bit harder to get people to like come together, because there's just so much other stuff now that you can get into outside of Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece like that, you know? Yeah, it's more spread out. Facts, Andy, facts. Yeah, and that's why those little bubbles are even there in the first place. It's funny and trash. How's it? Wait, funny and trash? That's not a good way of like recommending a show, but all right. So, needless to say, I wish. I don't think we're ever gonna get back to that point. I don't see it ever going back to that point. That's why it was always funny to me that people be like, "Oh man, we have the new big three with Black Clover, My Hero Academia, and Jujutsu Kaisen." I'm just like, that's not the same thing. Look, anime at that time wasn't as popular as it is now. That's the thing, right? That's why we consider this the big three, because they were like the leading shows that really started getting anime to be in the popular sphere in the first place, like that, right? Like, there's other shows that were doing it, but there were three shows at one time that was actually making wave. That's why it was considered the big three to begin with. A lot of fake hype reaction channels out there right now. Facts, man. Like, I said, so I can't watch it. I can't watch that content. The crap's trash. Like, I'm sorry. Look, I'm not trying to hate on people, but like, I don't like fake reactions. My reaction for everything that I do is genuine, okay? If I'm hype, I'm actually hype. You should know my personality by now. I'm bootleg, right? So there is that type of energy that comes from me when you do watch me. So I like to be as genuine as I possibly can. I don't like when things are so forced, and that's when you know those are not good reactions. You can tell, basically, right? I really despise those fake reaction channels. Same, Andy, same. We don't understand what the big three even is. No, they don't. They really do not. It will be Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. Exactly. There is no new big three. If you want to make a new big three, then fine, right? But like, you can't say like, oh, you can add this or yada yada yada. You can even make the argument, okay, maybe there's an old big three back in the day, but those shows were they were the stepping stones to make Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, basically. And what I mean is like Sailor Moon, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Dragon Ball Z, right? Because they were airing at the same time around their time too, and people were getting in anime at that time. But anime was just never that big like that. Like DBZ was a forerunner that made anime as big as it is. It really pushed it to the spheres of people for people to watch in the first place. Shoot, you can even throw Pokemon in there. People forget Pokemon's a freaking anime. Like, Pokemon technically was another anime that got mainstream appeal, that helped ultimately to get this to the next level, is the thing. Has a Photoshop scene in anime. Why alrighty then? That's kind of odd then. All right then. Why we photoshopping? But nonetheless, ultimately at the end of the day, I wish we can get back into a more community-based actual anime community, because I do miss having those like just random conversations, having like multiple people want to come in and actually have a conversation to talk about anime. You know, seasonal talk, I hope maybe at one point can kind of like transform into something like that, especially for like the discussionary portions, right? I wouldn't mind having guests on to talk about anime, to talk about a topic, to talk about a hot take, you know? That would be something that would be nice to have at some point, to have that type of community back again, because we need that. We need that. Always find it amusing how similar the anime and K-pop communities are. I know it's very, like, what Pink has been telling me about it. Like, it's very, very, very similar, super similar. Like, it's funny because they have a big three of their own, right? So it's funny to me. We do have one more topic that I do want to actually talk about. Let me see. Yeah, because this other topic is also interesting, because I've done this before, and maybe what Joe's been talking about, right? With that freaking show that I dropped. Maybe I should have given more time before it actually got good, right? But is a show bad if it takes too long to get into? That's the other topic I want to talk about real quick before we end this stream. Is it bad if it takes, 50 episodes to get into a show? Because we talked about this a little bit before on stream, but we're going to like kind of dissect a little bit, right? Because I've seen shows like, and this is a very unpopular opinion. It's a very unpopular opinion, right? And I've said this a few times already, and y'all got to get shot every time I say it. I don't like Steins Gate, all right? I'm not saying the show's bad, but the show takes far too long to get into. Like, it took like almost the end of the show for me to really start actually kind of appreciating it a little bit. So I had to think back when I got done watching. I'm like, that took way too long though. And that show more or less needs you to start caring about their characters before the big twist happens. But I didn't really care about their characters like that, so therefore it's why I didn't really like the show like that. You know, like the characters have to carry, and the characters were not carrying that show for me. So that's why I didn't like the show, right? The twist and what the plot was fine. It's just the characters I didn't mess with, all right? Diego, welcome in. We're talking about right now when it comes to this last little topic is if a show takes too long to get into, is it considered bad? What are your thoughts on that, Diego? Never watched Lion Gate, so got no opinion? Okay, see. All right. I mean, give it a shot. People highly rate that show, but for me, I gave that like a 7.5, 7 or something like that. I thought the show's decent. It's not a bad show, but it just takes too long to get into. It's like Blood Sea. Blood Sea's another show that, honestly, I don't know how I kept up with it outside of because I was reviewing it. If I wasn't reviewing that show, I would have dropped Blood Sea a long time ago. That show is boring. It is so slow. It is mind-numbing slow. But if you go through the whole show, those last 2 episodes pay off so well, pay off with dividends. Like, it's crazy how everything, all of it just came together at the end. And it's like, yo, the show became goated all of a sudden. Gave it a 7 out of 10, but because of just how slow it took, but it was good at the end right there. But that's the problem, though. You have to watch so many episodes before it actually gets good, and it's like, that's not good. That's not good to have here. Call to the stand, One Piece. How dare you, Joe? I mean, you're not, well, see, that's the thing. I feel like One Piece doesn't take that long to get into or to get good. I liked Luffy's character back in the day more than I like Luffy's character now because Luffy was very snarky and just like, he didn't take no crap. He took no crap from nobody. Like, he was a funny dude. He, like, even with old stuff, because he didn't matter who it was. Old, female, a child, it don't matter. They get hands if they mess with him. It was so odd how his personality was back then. But I think that was contributive to how things were back then, like in the 90s into 2000s. Because like there's like some scenes actually back in the day that I saw from Pokemon where Ash was just like roasting suckers. Ash was roasting people. Like what's that dude? I think Tracy, right? He told that man, you better get a better life, because he's all talking about how he's like trying to take pictures. He's like, you better get a better life then. It's like, this dude was roasting suckers. I miss that type of like energy from a main character, because that was funny stuff. I'm not gonna lie, they don't do that anymore for Luffy. But I feel like One Piece doesn't take as long to get into, weirdly enough. But that's my opinion though. I don't think so. It has some kind of hook. Yeah, I mean, if it has some kind of hook, then it can help. Then, but a lot of times it takes a while for that hook to even come by. The hook is towards the end of the show. Like Blood Sea's hook is literally the end of the show. So it's like, who's gonna sit there and watch the whole thing though? That's the thing. Yeah, maybe, yeah, exactly. Well, Black Clover took 50 episodes for me to actually get into to start liking it. Like legitimately, it took me 50 episodes to get into. Boruto's another one that takes like about 50 or so episodes before it gets good. And it's like, that's too long to make the show good. Like, what are we doing here? It depends on the pacing. You can have a slow, you have a show that starts off slow, but then find yourself really invested, which is like, honestly, Heavenly Delusions is exactly that. Heavenly Delusions is actually that show. Heavenly Delusions is slow, but it's interesting. And I also like the characters. I actually like the characters in that show, so therefore it keeps me going to continue watching it And there's enough mystery and intrigue with its own plot that keeps me around. That's the thing here. And I'm a One Piece fan. I have plenty of patience for shows. And that's the thing. Yeah, I do have patience for shows too. Look, I've done it. As you see, I'm a One Piece fan as well. So, yeah, like the second season of Code Geass, for example, things definitely drag on for a bit. That's true. I agree on that as well. That's part of the reason why I gave the rating that I did for Code Geass. Because I think Code Geass is good. 8 out of 10 is a solid show. But, like, I don't think it's this GOAT status of a show that people keep saying it is. Simply because there are some weird faults with the show that is there, and then the actually elements of the show doesn't really lend itself to make the show better. Like there's no reason for it to be there. It's always like a thing I always bring up when it comes to Code Geass, but I digress. I think Black Clover has the same problem because people say it takes about fortunately, that's all I was saying. Like Black Clover has that exact problem. It takes about 50 episodes. Like if I wasn't watching it on Toonami, I probably wouldn't have gotten to Black Clover. Black Clover. Maybe it's because I got just used to the characters, or maybe the writing got a little bit better. I know Asta as a character got better because he stopped yelling so much, so that made me be okay with him is the thing. Get into the good stuff. I mean, the good stuff for One Piece, interesting. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't mind. I think the first arc. Because we get Zoro in pretty much the first arc. And that's like what? Like 12, 15 episodes, right? For the most part here. And then the next arc that comes in is when we get Usopp. So the thing is, that arc is good, but I don't think, because I guess it took about like maybe 30 episodes. Because I will have to say the Fishman, we had the Arlong arc, the Arlong Park arc. That arc in general is what I think starts to make One Piece. That arc in general is what keeps people like invested at that point. No, there's also Sanji too. Almost forgot about him. Maybe it does take a little bit. Not more. I'm thinking about it. Maybe it does. I like those arcs though for Usopp and for Sanji though, because there's some really heavy moments that happen in the anime in the show though. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. I definitely will prefer a show that starts out slow or boring and then leads to a great ending than a good show that ends with, I mean, I do agree to some degree. I'm not going to lie. Because a bad ending can really mess up a whole show altogether is the thing. AOT drags out. Yeah, no, AOT is getting dragged out specifically from the freaking anime. Like, the anime needs to stop. All right, Mappa, I know you want money, but just end the goddamn show, please. Like, stop it. Stop, okay? Like, you're being bad right now. I'd rather have a series that starts out bad and gets good rather than opposite looking at you, Promise Everland. The pain, man. The pain, all right? Promise Everland Season 2, man. Why? Best anime is No Game No Life, and you think it's not, you're wrong. I mean, there's better anime out there, but it is a very good anime. There is a very good anime. I do like that show, and it does deserve a second season, Joe. Where is it at, though? Where is it at? I need a second season. The only reason why I would say it's not like the best anime of all time or something like that is, again, there's some weird, actually, elements. It's very anime, right? And not everybody can get into it like that, unfortunately. Because don't get me wrong, the plot is really good. The characters are really good. But there are some things that could be worked on that could make the show better. I mean, like to me, I would give it like a 9 out of 10. Don't get me wrong, Joe. Don't get me wrong. Like, the show's like a 9 out of 10, but there are some slight issues with it. But it is deserving of a season 2. I'm just saying. Yeah, it missed the mark very bad. Like, that's like Promise Neverland needed like maybe 3 or 4 seasons. All right. Like that's I don't know why they said we're gonna end the show in 2 seasons. Like, what are we doing here? That was stupid. I don't get it. Wrong, best anime in school days. Now, Andy, what are you doing? Wait, what are you doing? It's like before it's like, huh? See, Andy out here trolling. Andy has learned the skill of troll no jutsu. So watch yourself out here, Fortunate. Watch yourself, all right? But nah, like, I mean, you guys make a good point, though. You guys do make a good point at the end of the day that, like, the shows, I'd rather a show, I guess, be slow than end off good than it being, like, it being good in the beginning and then it just falters towards the end. That's what kind of concerns me about One Piece, because One Piece, though it took a while to get into, I guess, right? It's been consistently good for a while. So what if it just falls off all of a sudden? Like, there's a lot in my mind when it comes to this here. Yeah, exactly, Desto. I don't know why they skipped a bunch of stuff, first of all, and then they just said, you know what, we're gonna do a slideshow at the end of the entire show. Like, I don't care about spoiling this, all right? If you haven't seen Promised Neverland, don't watch the show. There's no point of watching it. You can watch season 1. Season 1 is great. Don't watch season 2. Just read the manga at that point. Because even what I'm saying right here doesn't really spoil much, because they just do a slideshow of all the events apparently that happened at one point in time. I don't know what I'm looking at because I'm not a manga reader, so I don't know what the heck was going on. I just sat there, was like so confused and confuddled that we're doing this. I was like, who is this man? Let me stop. Like, yeah, just read the manga. Just read the manga. Like what is happening? Like, that's a great example of a show that had all the makings of something to be great, but doesn't. All right, I've watched Baki. Baki's good. Baki's good. I like me some Baki. Yujiro Hama, man, that guy's a goddamn menace to society. All right, yeah, he needs to get thrown in jail. But even if you throw him in jail, he gets out of jail. So like, well, I don't know what you're supposed to do. All right, that man, there's something wrong with that guy. All right, but that concludes all the topics that we have here today. I do need to get out of here because I got stuff I got to do. I got to cook some food. I got stuff I need to pack up, clean up, and everything of that nature. But I appreciate you guys coming up in here. I watched the original Baki, Baki the Grappler. I watched the original Baki the Grappler. I didn't watch like the CG version one of it, if I'm not mistaken. Because there's like a few others, but I watched Baki the Grappler. That's the one I watched. But yeah, if you guys can, real quick, can y'all like this this stream here? It helps with the algorithm, be able to push this stuff out to more people, so more people can come here and have actual discussion about anime and other topics of that nature. Because we do talk more than just anime here, you know. So y'all can like it real quick. I appreciate that. I will be back on the 16th on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Thabreakmaster. We have a special stream happening there. There's a Q&A that's going to happen. So if you have any questions, there is a form you can fill out. We have a Discord and all that stuff. So there's a form you can all fill out, ask some questions, and yeah, 16th special stream. Be there, be square, and it's going to be fun. All right, drink goddamn water, take goddamn vitamins, and I will see y'all in the next one. Until then, people, break out. Yeah, there we go, Joe. Yeah, in the mid, baby. In the mid. Ha ha.